to another episode of Beyond Loss, Loving Life with Karen Chaston. You probably gathered, I'm Karen Chaston, and it's so great to be here. So if you're not aware, I am on this amazing channel twice a week for 30 minutes, Monday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, Queensland time. So today I have some fantastic news, but please let me know where you are from. Just type it in the comments. Let me know where you are, what's happening, and I really do thank you for being here. If you haven't been here before, I am a Beyond Loss life coach. I help people to move beyond any kind of loss and create their better everyday life. And isn't that what life's about? Us all wanting to create a better everyday life. So what I'm going to do, hi Kerry, great to see you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen like I always love to do, get my little trusty little slides up because I've got some fantastic news. My book, let me bring it up. It's not going to play. My book, Demystifying Loss, has been released over the weekend onto Kindle. Yay, finally. 320 pages, 58,000 words on how you can move beyond any kind of loss and create your better everyday life. How exciting is that? I am so excited about it. You wouldn't believe. So let's have a look at the back cover. Let me read the back cover. And sure, on Kindle there is no back cover, but obviously there's a description, and this is what the description says. So let's read it. Have you noticed that most of us have no idea how to cope with loss? Nothing prepares us for the overwhelming abundance, that's a bit hard to read, of emotions that can have us on our knees, all alone, suffering in silence, wondering how we can get up off the floor. With over 40 plus loss events that can affect our lives, it's quite surprising that there wasn't a class, though now it does not have to be this way. Demystifying Loss is it's hard to read. I better read it from here. Demystifying Loss is a detailed guide that addresses the current lack of loss intelligence. This self-help healing book assists you to deep dive into many of the different types of losses, be it a loss of a loved one, a divorce, a job loss, your health, your wealth, your pets, or any of the losses that came to the forefront during the recent pandemic. Loss of freedom, choice, status, changing work conditions. Sorry, this is so hard to read from where I'm reading it. But anyway, we're getting there. I should have done it differently. Recreational and social activities, all of which will have a massive impact on our health, quality of life, and our relationships. Karen loves to say it's time to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And by the end of this book, you will exactly know how to do that. You are reading this is so hard to read. I can't believe I did this. Anyway, you are holding the guide to a loving 5-step process that will assist you to move beyond all of your past loss events and then create your better everyday life. Demystifying Loss will be your reference guide into the future, as this process ensures that no matter what loss event comes into your life, that you will not be shortened. Your grief and loss will be shortened, and you will very quickly move forward into love, joy, happiness, and fulfillment. Yay, we got there in the end. So I'd love to read your thing. Thank you, Kerry, and thank you for your comments. So I'm so excited about this that I'm actually going to share the link. So what I've done with Kindle is the price for the next 2 weeks is 99 US cents, which is around $1.40 Australian. So please now is the time for you to actually be guided on how to move beyond loss. And it truly is a life-changing philosophy. I haven't ever seen any sort of book that is similar to this. It is completely different to what I've seen. It deep dives into many of the loss events. It deep dives in the way that we currently do loss. It goes into a more loving way to do loss, and it actually gives you the 5-step process. You could follow this 5-step process by yourself and move beyond any kind of loss. Believe me, I have given you everything. It is totally amazing. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're not going to just be talking about my book, but I have to say I am so excited because it really has been a 10-month journey, a journey where I sort of went off track for a little while, not off track, down a different path where I've learned a lot. And I'm so grateful that I actually did that to actually bring this book here. And why did I write the book? You know, I wasn't going to write another book. And I had been told for many, many years that I was going to write another book. And I kept going, no, I've written my books. I've got 4 books. I love my 4 books. But I kept getting, this has been downloaded. It's really important that you write it. Excuse me. And what I've come to realize in life is that there are no coincidences in life. You know that things happen to you for a reason. And I was guided to write this book because of obviously my past loss events that have brought me to a place where I wanted to deep dive more into loss to find that better way. Because believe me, the way I did loss, I did it the hard way. When my son passed away, I did what most of us are doing. I went into avoidance. I went into just keep busy, give it time, everything will be all right. And of course, you know, it wasn't. How can life be all right when you're shoving your emotions down and avoiding them through things like food, alcohol, or drugs, working too much, shopping too much, being angry all the time? You know, I can go tick, tick, tick to most of that. Well, I can't tick the drugs, but I can certainly tick all the other things. And it's important for us to know that we have created, yes, everyone in this world, especially in the Western world, have created a life of avoidance. You know, social media, Netflix, all of those things, we're avoiding life. We're avoiding deep diving into our life. And that's why I do what I do, to assist people to go, do you know what? When you make your emotions your friends, life gets easier. Sure, it's a little bit harder at first, but believe me, in the long term and for the most of your life moving forward, life will be a lot easier. A little bit of pain here for a life that is full of meaning and purpose and memorable occasions and magic. Yes, magic. Okay, so let's deep dive into what we're going to talk about today, because this is a flow on from obviously my book. Now, if you've been here before, you know that I love to take people and bring awareness to what our life is about. Our life is a journey from love to loss and then back to love. Many of us get stuck in that loss and we find it really, really hard to move along that infinity line back to love. And that's why I love to assist people to be able to do that, because loss is going to come into your life. How can it not? When you know that there are over 40 different loss events that will affect all of our lives. We're not going to get out of here without any loss events. It's impossible. So don't even think for a moment that that is going to happen to you. And here is a list of, you know, the 40 plus loss events. As you can see, there are so many things there that affect all of our lives. And some of the things, you know, people might say, oh, but that's a joyous occasion. And of course it is. But there's also, for joy, there's also can be a little bit of a loss. You know, things like a pregnancy. How joyful is that? But the little bit of loss is, well, I'm losing who I used to be. I'm never going to be the same after being pregnant and having a baby. And obviously your life is going to be different. It's a good thing, but there's also that little twinge. Well, I really liked who I was over there and I've sort of lost her a little bit, but you will have more joy. So it's about us knowing and understanding how we can really embrace our life and learn to understand that change is just a natural progression of life. We are here on a spiritual journey. And maybe, just maybe, that loss, right? Let's really look at this. Just maybe loss. What if loss only came to you to point you in the right direction? Now, how interesting is that? Did you notice how clever I was that I flicked him looking one way to looking the other? So what is it? Let's really deep dive into this today. So what if loss only came to point you in the right direction, right? All of the loss events in your life, what if they happened to assist you to get back on your path to who you are meant to be, who you decided to be when you came down into this realm this time? So let's deep dive into this. And I'm going to start off, and please let me know, what you're thinking of this. Play along with me. Love the comments. So that'd be great. So let's have a look at this, right? So what if loss only came to point you in the right direction? That's a great question for everyone to ask yourself when loss does come to visit. What if this is a pinnacle moment in my life for me to refocus, to pivot, to start to become that person who I came here to be? Now, I understand that many people will look at that and they'll go, Karen, you lost your son 10 years ago. How could you possibly say that losing Dan was all happened to point you in a life direction, in a different direction, or the right direction? And I have to tell you, I would love to have Dan here in this realm. I would love it, right? I spend more time with Dan when he is not in this realm now than I do with his siblings, with his two brothers and his sister. And it's really, really interesting that I do spend more time with him, right? And sure, I'd love to have him physically here. I'd love to have him doing what his siblings are doing, progressing in their life, having children, moving on, creating their career, and doing all of those sort of things. I'd love that for Dan. But I honestly feel that the loss of Dan was exactly what this is about. It was to point me in the right direction. Over 10 years ago, I was a CFO of a publicly listed company. In hindsight, I was living in a Groundhog Day days, working too much, eating too much, definitely drinking too much. I wasn't looking after me. I never would have written a book then. I've just written my 5th book. I showed you my 5th book. I would never have been the person out front speaking in front of the crowd. I used to look at people who could do that, and my CEOs, a whole lot of them. And I used to go, wow, look at them. How amazing are they? Not realizing that I was holding myself back. So yes, Dan's passing did assist me to be pointed in the right direction. I know that through Dan's passing, I deep dived into loss. I went looking for a better way. I did it the hard way. I didn't do it the easy way at all. This is why I have found that better way, that more loving way for all of us to be able to move beyond any kind of loss and create your better everyday life. So I really want you to think about this next time loss comes to visit you, and it will. Right? It is going to. We're all going to have multiple major losses throughout our lives. So I really would love for you to sit back. It doesn't have to be on the day that it happens, but not long after. What does this mean for me now? And what does it mean for me moving forward? That's the most ideal question you can ask yourself. Just excuse me for a sec. I'm talking for nearly 15 minutes. I need to have a quick sip of water. Okay, so now that we've asked ourselves that question, what are some more amazing questions that we can start to ask ourselves when loss comes to birth? Hi, Maria. Great to see you here. I feel that life is us finding the highest, truest expression of ourselves. That's our life journey. We're on a journey to find the highest, truest expression of ourselves. The ups and downs of life, the heartbeat of life. Like if you think about it, life is like a heartbeat, isn't it? You know, we've all seen a heartbeat monitor where the bleeps go up and down and up and down. And that is very similar to what our life is. We have ups, we have our ups, we have downs, we have our losses. And if life was one straight line, and if we compared it to a heartbeat monitor, we would be dead. If we were doing exactly the same thing every day with no ups and downs or no things to be excited about or upset about, life would be pretty boring. And if you don't believe me, let's go all the way back to Adam and Eve. They had that. They lived in paradise in the Garden of Eden. It was paradise. And what did they do? They were told you can do anything you want to do except for one thing. They were so bored they had to do that one thing. It was like take the blue pill or the red pill. You know, you have to figure out what you want to do. So we're all on this journey to find the highest, truest expression of ourselves. Okay? That's the journey we're all on. So what does that actually mean? Let's think who we will be. Let's imagine for a moment that you're 90 years old and you're sitting in your overlooking your beautiful lake or beach or mountains, whatever you love to be in nature around, whatever you love nature to surround you. So you're sitting there and you're reflecting back on your life. Will you have any regrets? Will you have any, I wish I'd had the courage to do that. I know I can now. Why didn't I know then? Will you have, I wish I had stayed in contact with so-and-so. Or I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I'd been there more for my children. I wish I'd looked after my health a lot more. I wish I'd eaten better. I wish I wasn't so angry all the time. There's so many wishes that I could go on with now. But when you're on a journey to find the truest, highest expression of yourself, regrets are what get in the way, that stop us from doing that. Annette, could I please have a general reading, please? I am really anxious about everything at the moment. Annette, I don't do that. I help people to move beyond any kind of loss and create their better everyday life. So I totally understand if you don't want to stay with me for the next 12, 15 minutes, because that's what I do. I don't do readings. I help people to deep dive into themselves so that they can actually find the master they are seeking. So I understand if you don't want to stay, and I thank you for coming in to visit me. But if you want to stay, you will learn ways that you can actually find things in your life to assist you from not being so anxious about everything in your life at the moment. I'm more than happy to have a chat with you about how you could possibly do that. And if you like, you can email me, okay? My email address is karen@karenchaston.com.au. I'll type it in later, but I totally understand if you don't hang around. So here we are, right? We're figuring out the regrets. So let's have a look at what regrets are all about, right? And let's look to Steve Marobili to have a look at actually this. We all make mistakes, have struggles, and even regret things in our past. But you and not your mistakes. You are not your struggles. So let me say that again. But you are not your mistakes. You are not your struggles. And you are here now with the power to shape your day and your future. Okay? So if you're still here, Annette, I'd really like you to embrace this and actually look at it. You know, what is it that you're struggling with? What is it that is making you anxious at the moment? And have you made them bigger than what they are? Have you made them smaller than what you are? It's not for me to answer that question, but it's for you to start to deep dive into them and start to have a look about your anxiousness, the fears around it. Are they justified? Are they likely to happen? It's really important that we all do this exercise. And that's why I love to help people to be able to deep dive into themselves, to understand their feelings, to make their feelings their friends, because our body and our feelings and are all here to assist us to create that better everyday life, to look at things differently, to develop mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. We're all on a very similar journey. And it's really important for us all to understand that. Okay, Annette, thank you. Yes, I'm still here. Yes, probably making things bigger than they are. Thank you, Karen. Great, Annette. Isn't that great? Like just in 2 seconds. Thank you for responding. And as I said, I'm more than happy for you to reach out to me. You can PM me, or you can actually email me at karen@karenchaston.com.au. But I will type it in a sec. I just know if I type it in now, my slides are going to go all funny. Okay, so do you fill your cup first? Now, this is a question for all of us, and this is the best advice I can do. When you fill your cup first, right, and I'm not literally talking about your teacup, I am talking about the things that you do for yourself. Do you get up and have your me time for an hour every day? Do you find an hour each day to be and do things for yourself? To exercise, to eat healthy, to do a spiritual practice, to read something, to be by yourself, to start to tune into the way that you think, to start to tune into how you speak to yourself. Let's be honest, sometimes we speak to ourselves disgustingly. My very first book was The Journey to Becoming Your Own Best Friend. And I wrote that back in 2014. So, yeah, 7 years ago. Wow, 7 years ago. So it's really important that we all realize that we are on this journey to becoming our own best friend. Because when we are our own best friend, we start to treat ourselves really, really well. We definitely fill our own cup first. Because when we fill our own cup, we become energized, we become vibrant, we become open to all different possibilities, and we start to see all different possibilities. We see that the universe has our back. We see that things that were right in front of our face are actually there to assist us. But we've got to take the time to lift our vibration. And we do this through doing a spiritual practice, through looking after ourselves, to eating healthily, to not eating so much, to realizing that we are the most important person in our life. We are the only person we're going to spend our entire life with. Yeah, I was in my 50s, early 50s, when I realized that. You are the only person you're going to spend your entire life with. So why are you putting yourself last? Why are you saying yes to everyone else and no to yourself? It's time for you to flick it. Start saying no to everyone else and yes to yourself. You can also say yes to them when it is a yes to you as well. When you know that you're going to get some joy and some love and some fulfillment by fulfilling that request. I'm not saying never ever say yes to someone else. I'm just saying make sure that when you do say yes to someone else, you're not saying no to yourself. Really important that we start to understand that. And then from there, another great way that you can actually really start to color your world, to realize that you are loved and you are fulfilled and your life is amazing, you can do it through laughter. Now, laughter is the most easiest way for you to fill yourself up with the feel-good hormones, dopamine, There's so many of them that have just literally gone all out of my head, but that's all right. I'll command them to come back. And of course, you will feel so good when you start to actually, feel good. Cortisol, we don't want cortisol in our body. Cortisol is our enemy. And cortisol is what happens when you're in stress, when cortisol comes into your body when you actually are adrenalized, right? We don't want them. We want dopamine. We want oxytocin. We want all of these feel-good hormones, and laughter is the best way to get them into your body. You can fake it till you make it, but eventually when you keep laughing, you will feel good. So I'm running out of time. So as I said in the beginning, Demystifying Loss is my new book. There are so many great things in this book, right? It's on Kindle. For the next 2 weeks, it is being sold for only 99 cents American, which is about $1.40 Australian. Believe me. 320 pages of absolute gold nuggets all the way through it. 58,000 words that, believe me, you can follow. Annette, I highly recommend that you download this book. Start to read it, right? Start to actually embrace all of the lessons that I have learned over my life. Through many of my clients, I share their lessons so that you can assist you to feel better. It's really amazing book. Honestly, I will post the link here again. So let me do that. There's the link the Kindle link, the direct that you can download it. And believe me, I would love your feedback. This is my love to you. These are the programs that I assist people. I've given you the whole program. You could follow this book and move beyond any kind of loss by yourself. Or you can reach out and we can go from there. Now, as I said, I was going to type in my email address. If you would like a 10-minute, 15-minute conversation, reach out. Just at the heading, just put where you found me, where we connected, so that I actually know that it came from, my show. But believe me, this is the book. You will share it. Please share it with all of your friends who are going through anything at the moment. At the times are not easy what we're living in. I understand that. I know that. We are not living in easy times at the moment. But it doesn't have to be as hard as what it is. And that's what this book is all about. Assisting you to move beyond any kind of loss and create your better everyday life. Okay, well, I've got 2 minutes left. Wow. I will be back here on Thursday at same time, 11 a.m. Queensland. And we will be going through more things. Each of my 30-minute segments, which I love now, I have a different topic. We go through a different sort of way that you can move beyond loss, a different little gem is what I call them. And all of my things are gems, right? It's not a toolkit, it's a gem box. And it really does assist you to be able to move beyond any kind of loss and create your better life. So are there any more questions before I sign off for today? And as I said, back here Thursday. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Kerry. Thanks, Annette, and everyone else who hasn't put their name in here or asked a question or anything. Whether you're watching this live or whether you are watching the replay, thank you for being here. And I would just really love to say very, very quickly, make your day meaningful, memorable, and magical. And I'll see you here later in the week. Bye for now.